Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to Straight Red Card. Make sure you hit like, subscribe if you haven't, and share it with your grandma. That's
hit that notification bell.
Ding ding. Yeah, that still won't stop YouTube from doing a viewers audit on us. Apparently,
you're all fake. Every single one of you. All 29 watching right now.
You're all bots. Apparently, you're all bots.
But you're doing a damn good job as being a bot.
Yeah. So yeah, that happened, but it ended. The turd says
we'll come back to that in just a second. I want to talk about
that. The turd says, I let TJ Batson do today's intro. Welcome back to the Straight Red Card. Starring Derek and the other guy. Don't ask me anything about Greg because won't answer. Yeah. That's about right. That's about how he would deliver that, I think. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It sounded like Beavis or Butthead, one of the two. I think more Butthead.
Weinstein says he's a power bot. We got a beep.
Yep.
Got a beep boop in there.
Yep.
Sean seems to have known that he's been a bot this entire time. That's quite being aware of that.
Man, yeah, we're all going.
If you're a robot, are you aware that you're a robot?
It's all brains and vats. That's what we're talking about here.
I'm a real boy.
You're a boy? You might not want to watch this show. There's lots of F-bombs in it. I don't know. That's rated R. The show's an R-rated show. So our PG-13. So 13 and up. You're probably good. We probably do want to have to do some sort of self-regulation on the amount of the word fuck we say.
Fuck that.
I know, but
no,
I started counting. There's a lot of fucks in the last show. A lot.
I think everybody's fucking aware of that, Derek. Come on.
I mean, I was like, Derek, can you not say a sentence without saying fuck? I mean, what's wrong with you? Anyhow, so there might be a slight reduction, or it could go back to hitting this button.
We literally just did like 10.
I know.
7 minutes of the show right there.
But I got that mute button, so I can say, that's a lot of bullshit. I can just tap it and it takes it right out. Or I can just say, not do that at all. You know what I mean? Or I can continue to hit it and we can just do this all.
I know we've talked about that before. What movie was Be Cool? Have you ever seen Be Cool? John Travolta. No. It's a sequel to Get Shorty.
No, I didn't watch either of those.
Well, Be Cool is funny as fuck. But he's talking about he's a director at the beginning of the movie. He's a director of movies now. He used to be a Shylock, which just worked for the mob and everything. But he's working in the movie industry now, and he's like, "Hey, did you know that in order to not have a rated R, rating R, you can only say fuck, you can only say the F word once?" And they're like, "Oh, really? Is that true?" And he goes, "Yeah. You know what I say about that? Fuck that." And that's the only time he says fuck in the entire movie. No other fucks.
When did this word become so incredibly horrible? I mean, really, honestly, it's a verb. It's a noun. It's an adjective. Might be able to work it in as a fucking adverb. I don't know. But I will say this. I don't know why it's just so unrevered as a word. It should be embraced, that word.
Well, here we are sitting about 6 minutes into the show. We've said the F word probably more now than we have in any other stream. And we have all of our people in the comment section saying that they're robots. We're totally gonna get audited again.
Great.
So seriously, do you think that time period, that 19-hour time period where we didn't go anywhere up, it was 450 when we stopped the show,
right?
So when it finally kicked back on, 19 hours. Do you think all those views were lost, or do you think they systematically came back over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours? Because we're sitting at like 1.4 on that show.
We could check the stats and see if there was some magical
Massive
bump.
Jump, yeah.
But I don't think there was. So that show probably would have been like 2,600. And now it's just going to sit at 1.6 or whatever it is. Certainly illustrates the diversity of the word. Yes, it does.
That's a reference to Boondock Saints.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, tonight I am drinking a St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, another Belgian specialty. If you know the St. Bernardus family in Belgium, they're not family, they're monks. And it's kind of a family in its own way. This is their special. It was on sale because guess what? It's over. I was going to say it's fucking over, but it's over. So there we go. All right. And I'm going to drink that right now. Actually, I'm going to pour it as we begin to take your questions and comments.
So
from the box.
Zoom up on this. So I quoted American Sock here because there's no R there. But I basically said this ought to be a fun conversation to have with the resident music snob, Derek. So I'm going to save it for tonight. So
okay.
Where's it at? So Eric Ronaldo said, "What are your top 5 underrated songs?" And first off, here's his.
Closer to the Heart, Rush, Sister Christian. I mean, it's a good song. I mean, I don't know how it'd be underrated. It was a major hit in the 80s. They played it a million gazillion times on the radio. Better Days. Nah, I'm sorry. Can't deal with the Goo Goo Dolls. That's a fake indie rock band. Oh, my God. If you put Collective Soul on here, Eric, come on, dude. Do not. Hey, what's that song they have?
Thank you.
Fucking hate that song. Fucking hate everything they did. Biggest ass pussy fake ass indie rock band ever created. Hollow by the Name, Iron Maiden. You know what? I'll give you that. I like some Iron Maiden. I listened to that when I was like, freshman.
So Al here says, "Oh fuck," because I know how this is gonna go for me. Because he's one of the people who comment here. So,
okay.
So Al quote tweets Winalda, and his are "Chop Suey" by System of a Down.
Hey, System of a Down had at least 2 good songs. At least.
Yeah, they had at least 3 on their first CD.
Yep.
So, and then they had a couple others on the second and so forth. But "Love Buzz" by Nirvana.
Isn't that on the first album, Al?
Which one?
Think it is. Love Buzz.
I don't know which album that's on.
It's the same album that a lot of people don't have. And like one of the songs is "I'm a Negative Creep When I'm Stoned," which is a great song. I'm a negative creep when I'm stoned. It's fucking great. Old Black Hole, I do not know.
It's on the Bleach album. The Nirvana song.
Oh, is it on Bleach?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, well, I thought maybe it was on the first one for some reason, and I don't know why. But I'm sure if I heard it immediately, I'd go, oh, yeah, that one. Because all of the names of Nirvana songs outside of the obvious ones have all blended together over the years. Interstate Love Song, I think it's actually one of Stone Temple Pilots' best songs. And I like the album that they did in their own house, like that they rented out in a studio. They did a whole album there that I think is their best album. That was like the end of them. That was like the album that nobody bought. And their careers went right down the tubes after that. But I thought it was the best one they did.
Generation, though, is having a comeback tour at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if STP has a new album with a different singer or whatever. But
yeah, he's dead, isn't he? Yeah, okay. All right.
Singing that as I was saying that, that might be a little difficult.
Scott something. Can't remember his name, but his first name was
It'll
Scott.
come up in the chat.
I mean, listen, I know why Al was worried, because in a lot of ways, Stone Temple Pilots they were kind of like, afterthoughts after, Even Flow, like Pearl Jam and all the other people.
Like, wait a second,
they came after in a lot of ways, Nirvana and Pearl Jam, Scott Weiland, yes. And they were kind of copiers when they first came out, but then they found their own on that album I was talking about that I don't know the name of. It's the only Stone Temple Pilots album I ever bought and owned, which was the one they recorded in the house by themselves. All right, Jurassic Park theme song. Okay,
My response to him was, let's see if I'm the first one here. No, I'm not going to be. My response was, which version of the Jurassic Park theme song? My favorite is the failed recorders version of it. Yeah. You know.
I don't know any of the. I really don't remember the theme song for Jurassic Park. In fact, I remember. No, I mean, I remember ones like I remember Rocky. I remember what's the Jaws. Dun 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 dun
Well,
dun.
that's
dun,
two
dun,
chords.
Dun. I mean, that's
9 chords. That's 2 little notes. Dun, 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 dun.
So
okay.
there are things.
Okay.
Anyhow,
So these are the songs he picked, and American Sock says, "Homie, you name the most popular song from a band and call it underrated. LOL."
So he's talking about Sister Christian. That would be my guess.
Well, no. This is not that same person. Not Winaldo. This is he's responding to Al. I'm assuming he's referring to Chop Suey System of a Down because that was their big hit.
Yeah, probably.
So they go on to this whole debate back and forth as far as whether or not a popular song can be underrated.
Yes, it can. Popular song can be underrated.
So I guess let's just go through the replies in case I'm misinterpreting it. So Al says, so any band's most popular song cannot be underrated. An underrated popular song is an oxymoron. And they go on to talk, breaking that down, I guess. But
not really. Like, okay, let me give you an example.
So here's
Alex men with hats. Men with hats. We can dance if you want to. Like that, nobody really considers that a massive hit, but it's a really great song. And I don't think people think of it as a good song. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's just sort of a but no, it's a good song too,
it's catchy and it sticks in your brain, unfortunately.
It does.
Yeah.
And then there's
it would be the equivalent of the early 2000s version of Tub Thumping. Not a good song, but it gets stuck in your fucking head.
Then there were bands that had like what I thought it should have been a big hit, but never were really, like Psychedelic Furs, The Ghost in You, which I think was featured on some movies. But that's a really fucking great song. But nobody talks about it. I heard it the other day and I thought, wow, this is a really good song. I totally forgot about this fucking song.
So assuming, and maybe Al, or maybe somebody wants correct on what my assumption was here. I'm assuming that's what it was. That was the song that he's referring to, because that was System of a Down's most popular song.
I don't even like that kind of music, and I like that song. So yeah,
I will say. So I guess my take is something can be popular and underrated, because you have to be talking about the sample size of the population that makes it popular. So there could be a group of people who really love the song, and it takes off on that radio station, blah, blah, blah. But that could be a small segment of the population, whereas the vast majority, hear the song start up and they're like, oh, fuck this shit, and click off.
Well, that's what most people do when We Built the City comes on now, right? And that was a very popular song on its time, which obviously means it was a completely overrated. And Devo is an underrated song. I'd say Whip It is a very good song. Fucking love it. So, I mean, it's a classic to me. Fuck yes, Derek. I knew I could rely on you. Thank you, Al.
You were placing your money on the wrong horse there, because I would have assumed that Derek probably would have ripped you to shreds.
No, it's not true.
Every time we talk about music, I'm like, what about this? Like, yeah, I didn't like it. Fuck it. Too many songs using the phrase "I." Always talking about the person and not just what blah blah blah.
Not a big fan of that. Not a huge fan of songs with "I," and I don't like what I especially don't like is songs that talk about how great they are and how great they're gonna be. Like that's what all these bands do now, and they're all in commercials now. It's like we're gonna be heroes or whatever. I don't know. It's just it annoys me. I don't like overly fucking positive music. It makes me want to vomit. There we go.
Well, I mean, you were hitting your stride during the '90s of the grunge era, and I mean, it makes sense that you like that more dark and needy sense.
I don't believe songs should be self-affirmative. Songs should be self-reflective. That's a different thing.
What if you are fabulous and you're just perfect in every way?
Then become a rapper, because I allow that in that genre.
money.
I'm okay with it in that genre, because that's the whole point of it when it got started was I'm going up against you. It's rapper versus rapper. To me, that's okay. And I'm going to tell you how much better I am than you are at this. But I don't need self-affirmation songs that like, I'm going to be who I am. I'm never going to change. Fuck you. You better change, motherfucker. We all have to change. We all have to evolve. I hate songs like that. Maybe if everybody doesn't like you, you need to like look in the mirror.
I mean,
okay?
even we're trying to change a little bit. We're trying to cut back on the amount of fucks we say.
That's really not working. Guessing Derek is not a fan of NU rock. I don't even know. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Is it just a lot of screaming and guitars? I don't know. Don't know if I'm a fan of it or not. You have to understand, I stopped listening to most mainstream music about in 2010. So I'm about 12 years
Linkin
gone.
Park, Limp Bizkit, Korn, Deftones, Mudvayne. I don't think Mudvayne falls into the same line as Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, though. Nothing wrong with Linkin Park per se, but Alien Ant Farm, talking about a band that had 1 1/4 hit, and even that one hit, wow.
Oh God! All right, I just threw up on my mouth a little. Is Rage Against the
Machines considered new rock? Really?
I don't think so. Like, I wouldn't put Limp Bizkit in with Rage Against the Machine. Had a message.
Guilty pleasure of my youth.
Linkin Park's the formula for every Linkin Park song was exactly the same. Build slowly up to a very loud chorus and then yell it. Like, I mean, I don't know how original that is. I'm sorry. Linkin Park was not good. Limp Bizkit was just lame as fuck. And then Rage Against the Machine, I'll give some credit to.
I like Rage. I mean, I like Linkin Park. I don't think anything by Linkin Park's really mind-blowing by any means, but it's something you're driving, to Michigan, and it's on the radio. Okay, sure, I can listen to this.
You're driving into the depths of hell. You might as well go down listening to fucking Linkin Park, because that's how good it's going to be in hell. That's it. Mediocre Linkin Park songs.
So,
all right, but I don't want to offend anybody. Wow. You're allowed to like whatever you want. Just know this show is about my opinions and Brett's opinions, and you asked the question, you brought it up on Twitter, so I'm commenting.
For those of you who are closeted Limp Bizkit fans, or were in the past, there were a lot of us out there, and unfortunately, I liked Limp Bizkit for a segment of time period. Their first CD was good. Their second CD, the third.
Yeah, that's what's happening right here.
Yeah. Well, their first CD didn't make them big. I mean, I guess the remake of Wham, Gotta Have Faith, that song. That song was from their first CD, but they didn't play any of their other shit from that CD on there, which was just a shame because that was like the worst fucking song on there. But the follow-up CDs for them suck donkey balls.
I would say She's Gotta Have Faith, the original, is way better than anything Limp Bizkit ever did, but that's just my opinion. At least it was I don't know, I'm not going to get into it. I just don't like Limp Bizkit. I don't like what they do. I don't like the singer. I don't like their joviality. I am not into happy fucking go lucky.
No, we're at 70 now. Sorry, Chad.
We're at 70? Mm-hmm. We got people dropping off because we're talking about music.
No. We were at 69 people watching. Nobody moved.
Oh, I get it. Yes.
Dang it, we're up to 71 now. Crap.
All right, so we passed 69. That is awesome. Anything else on the music thing you need to know from me?
No, the music is that was that basically. Is like the big question really was, can a popular song be underrated?
Well, I think if people go back and you listen to, say, Bruce Springsteen, and I'm not a big, massive Bruce Springsteen fan by any means, but if you listen to Dancing in the Dark and the fact that song, how he pulls it off, it's basically the same chords for the whole song except for one bridge. And yet when you re-listen to it today, it's like, okay, yeah, it's all right, but the lyrics are kind of all right. If you really get into the lyrics, you're like, okay, I get what you're saying there. They're not positive lyrics. I mean, I know the video was with what's her face up there dancing. What's her name? She was on Friends. That was her big breakthrough. the dark-haired chick on
No.
Friends.
Courtney Cox.
Yes, she was the
Yeah,
chick who
pulling
gets
it out
on
of my ass.
stage with pulling it right out of your ass with ease. It's almost like you got KY all oiled up in there. So it's
As
like,
I told Jose, I've got an entire closet full. I need to get rid of it. Unpaid internship. Pay a bottle of KY a week.
okay. Oh, I was going to say you're going to ask your intern to give you a reach around while you did the show. So, but Courtney Cox is on there.
That's why the show is taken from the chest up. You don't see what's happening below the camera.
Oh, I'm sure EB is being totally thrilled with that. All right. So, anything else? Let's move on.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Berlin had to skip the show tonight. He's got some Polish ladies calling him.
He's got some cunnilingus. He's already scheduled into his calendar. So he's.
It's funny. It's funny because Berlin eventually. I think it was Chris Gary. I think Chris Gary said that. Hey, tell the Polish girls that you're busy tonight or whatever. And he was like, I'm just doing my part to make sure we have more Americans in the in Europe. So Jose was nice enough to record some of that night in Berlin for Berlin, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this. I imagine this is what Berlin looks like nowadays. Yeah, all right.
Oh boy. I doubt he's gone that far. But I have to say, I'm not gonna lie, I have worn lederhosen more than once in my life. And in fact, the first time I wore it when I was 3 years old, I pissed in my lederhosen. And if you know anything about lederhosen, when you pee your pants, it shows up in lederhosen. Like there's no hiding it. Like it was embarrassing. I was 3 and it was embarrassing.
Pants is cool. Consider me Miles Davis.
I know. I've heard that one. What's that from? Anyhow,
it's Billy Madison.
Okay. That's
right.
really not. It's really not that funny, but okay.
Oh, that is the grossest thing I've ever heard. Let's go. No, yeah. It's the whole context around peeing your pants.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Okay.
Next.
So we have a Twitter thread here by a certain Meg Swanek. Felt like we brought this up because I responded to it. I wanted to bring it up. This is fun. So
all right.
She says, go for it.
I am just so happy that Meg continues to put things out and include us in it, even after it's very obvious how much I love her work, if you know what I mean. I mean, I seriously do. I think her work's great. Yeah, but
100%.
We joke around about the crush thing, but Meg, don't be uncomfortable.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and read.
She's married. All right. Great session today from Girls Soccer Net on using media to grow women's sports. Still chuckling at this image of Mr. Soccer Troll to discuss the reply people. Challenges to a successful social media presence. Safe community. Authenticity is good. Know your why. What's safe community mean?
Well, she expands on this because somebody does question what the safe community is. Here we go. It says, yes, teach people in positions of narrative authority to dehumanize anyone who disagrees. And that's basically what he's talking about here. And she expands on it. Go ahead. These
were the examples given. They're all personal attacks, more focused on having an issue with women playing sports.
So can you read those?
No.
Okay. So it says, bruh, so bad. They wobble around like clueless chickens, can't even chew properly, and they start way too close. Laughing my ass off.
They start way too close? What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Anyway, this is why no one watches women football. Why do they run like dinosaurs? And the women and the women wants the same payment as the men. Oh, I skipped this one in the middle. So allergic to shooting, bruh, with the skull emoji.
I don't know if that's actually a real criticism of women's soccer. You could say that about men's teams too.
You're stealing my thunder, Derek.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you bitch.
There we go.
Okay, well, it didn't pop up because Twitter's a piece of shit. But basically, my response was, I'm personally offended that the women's whatever soccer conference league or whatever had a personal attack against Brendan Aronson up there.
Oh, I hope people knew what the fuck you were talking about. They probably didn't.
The fucking guy who doesn't shoot the ball.
He does not.
It's pretty obvious to me, but
He doesn't want to shoot the ball.
Yeah,
but that's a joke. That's an advanced joke that you just delivered there.
I don't think I got much. I didn't get much traction with that either, too. So
no, it's too advanced. It's too advanced.
I'm way too smart for all of you fucks out there.
All right, what else we got? Good stuff, Meg.
Yeah. All right. So
Meg will be coming on the show sooner than later.
She's got a full schedule for the next couple of weeks, and we'll be working to figure out a time she can come on.
Yep.
And we're still working with Jimmy, and then we got Simon Allen coming on soon. We need to hammer out a date for him too, but
I don't know if a lot of people know who Simon Allen is, because his heyday was about the same time as our first stint.
Yeah,
and I don't think he even does a show anymore. We'll ask him.
Hey, his response. What was it about? What was it about? Shit. He made a response about somebody. It was about Reyna. It was about Gio.
Mm-hmm.
About basically having Papa Reyna basically open doors for him and get him to where he is now. And Simon got a lot of responses about that. And I was like, man, you're getting a lot of ire about your Reyna post. And he goes, I don't care.
But I don't know why why is that a controversial sentence?
Because there are he did go on, and I can find this at some point, not tonight though, because it'll take way too much digging. But basically talked about how like Reyna was giving opportunities to play where some people who don't have a famous father, and he wrote famous and then in parentheses overrated father, basically saying Claudio was overrated. And basically saying that there are players that were left off of the New York City Academy, and the U17s, the U14s, U15s, and 16s, and all that shit, because Papa Reyna opened those doors. So Joe Schmo down there, who didn't get to go to college because he didn't get to play for the U17s, all because of Gio. Well, that's basically the gist of it.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, that's kind of how the cookie crumbles. I mean, I'm not saying it's fair. But,
it happens everywhere around the world. Obviously,
Reyna's a very talented player.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just because he got to play, because didn't Trump's kid get to play with the DC Academy or something?
I don't know.
And he's not. Maybe. And they bought his spot on the DC Academy. He never amounted to a hell of beans. You
only have to look at Klinsmann kid. I guarantee you any big name player worldwide
can get their kid, yes,
over the last tens of decades,
yes,
is basically saying, "Hey, here's my kid, give him a chance." And then at that point, the kid has to prove themselves, sort of like how Klinsmann's not. Jonathan Klinsmann isn't. But
the point is that Reyna did prove himself all along the way, so I can understand why people will be upset with that quote. I guess now that Simon's going to be on live, this is going to be really interesting, especially if we have an argument with him like we often do.
The great thing about Simon is he's always out to throw the punches, and he doesn't care if any of the slings aim towards him. We'll take it, whatever. Yeah.
All right. We'll
check comes up. The check comes up. It's insults him. He's like, whatever.
We'll make him the stuffed doll that you guys can all put pins in. This will be fun.
And again, this could have just been him, poking the beehive. He's like, hey,
I don't know why you do that, because he doesn't really do his show anymore. So I don't know what he's gaining. I think he's coaching again. So
is he not still broadcasting?
No,
some lower whatever division team.
I don't. Yes, he might be. He might be doing that as well. Yeah. So he might be calling
USL?
games.
I don't know where it was at. Yeah.
No, it wasn't USL. It was a lower. I think it was NISA.
No.
He was broadcasting that. So, yeah, we'll bring Simon Allen on. You guys will get to meet him and rip him apart if you want to.
Or you might like him. Or you might like him. Derek and I like him.
People can rip us apart every night if they want to, too. That's the whole purpose of this sort of setup,
really
right? All right, Derek Ray says Sport Bild reporting the Germany men's national team will provisionally spend the September-October international window across the Atlantic. Expectations are 2 test matches, one in the USA, the other in Mexico. Also, this year, there are plans for a meeting with France and possibly Japan.
All right, we don't care about the last sentence, really.
I don't either.
So 2 test matches, one in the U.S. and one in Mexico, doesn't necessarily specify that they're playing the U.S. and they're playing Mexico. One would imagine they play Mexico and Mexico, of course. Although Mexico tends to not play friendlies and shit in Mexico. Unless
Derek Ray just doesn't want to use the word friendly because it's too long. And he's already coming up against it.
He calls it a test match because, I guarantee this is pressing, the and all that shit.
Yes, so he meant pressing. Friendly.
Yeah, they're friendlies. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a friendly in Mexico and a friendly in the U.S. Again, doesn't specify that it is the U.S. and Mexico. One would imagine, but
it doesn't
specify.
It will be.
That'd be cool. Yeah. That'd be cool.
I think it will be.
We'd already be getting better friendlies than what we did in the last cycle.
What are they going to come over and play FC Dallas? That would make no sense.
No, but they could come over and play Japan or something like that. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying they're going to play Japan, but
he says possibly Japan. So there you go.
No, meeting. Okay, well, he says also this year though. Makes it sound like that's on top of what is going to happen in the U.S. and Mexico.
That's what it sounds like to me. So there's a big also in there. All right.
Yeah.
Enough of you, Derek Ray. What else we got?
Let's see.
By the way, we like Derek Ray.
Yeah, no, he hits it. He hits a nail on the head all the time. He was always on par with the John Brooks shit, man.
Yep, he was.
Okay. Well, this isn't our actual topic, but this became a pretty massive topic leading into today, though. Let's cover some ESPN garbage. Want to do that?
Okay, sure.
So I want to start off fun. We'll start off fun.
Okay.
ESPN was nice enough to let us know that Chelsea boss Graham Potter says Christian Pulisic is out for the next 2 months, which could see him miss the U.S. men's national team January games.
What? He's not going to play in January? What a doofus. Who is this?
I'm sorry, ESPN. You're factually right. He will miss those January games, but not because he's injured.
That's just way off.
And the thing I loved about the internet the most, and they preach the whole toxicity on the internet, safe spaces, etc. But ESPN got ripped apart for this. And I loved every moment of it.
It's because they don't spend any time with it. They'll probably go over a basketball quote 1,000 times and make sure they got all the stats right before they post anything up. But soccer, they just fucking, here's a little soccer thing for the soccer dweebs. All right. And that's what they do. And that's why we get dumb.
So damn. Go ahead. Read what John says here.
John Rex says, damn, I'm so sad he's going to miss games that he was never going to play. The article doesn't even mention these games. Yes.
It's in the title. It's in the whatever. It wouldn't be the first time they put something in the title that's has nothing to do with the actual article.
Yeah, it's quite bad. And yes, it was sad to see that Pulisic wasn't going to get to play today, but I was fine with it because Fulham beat Chelsea. Hell yes. Fucking 2-1 today. I loved it. Ream was great. Robinson was great. The whole freaking team was great. They didn't even have their best guy up top. They had to go.
Apparently, there's a lot of talk on the Twitters that Fulham is actually on the attack to purchase Weah.
They should, because Little doesn't ever want to start him. So fuck.
Or they play him as a right wing back. Of late.
Well, I mean, they could, because they do need a little bit more depth up top. So that'd be fine. But he's not going to play. He's not going to play right back or left back, because Fulham play a back four, period. most 99% of the time. So
Mhm.
he's going to have to play up.
No. Lil's playing as right wing back is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Stupid.
In a 3-4-3 or whatever it is. Yeah.
When I think of Tim Weah, I think of his defensive ability to cover back.
Sure you do.
Whatever.
This was actually ESPN's second post on the matter. They originally actually said Chelsea boss Graham Potter has placed Pulisic on double secret probation, and King Charles has decreed he isn't allowed to leave the country, forcing him to miss the January games.
Much more information there, I think.
Way too.
I'm not sure why they got rid of that.
Way too much information there. All right. That was great. Yes. Go Fulham. That is my first team, my first love, going back a long ways. Ooh, I'm so glad you have this up here because I know we're not going to play it, but
go watch it, guys. It's fun.
Go watch it because I've never seen Herc so irritated and so irritable throughout a whole interview. Like, I've got to listen to fucking Jeff Carlisle not take any fucking responsibility for his article that caused a lot of, newspapers across the country to say the Reynas were blackmailers. I mean, it was sort of brought up, but Jeff took no responsibility in this interview.
What are you going to do?
Zero. Had a chance to come on and say,
I covered it up. I scribbled out blackmail and I put allegedly leveraged a story over Berhalter's head.
He had a chance to go on this show.
It was a rift, Derek. That's the most recent one. It's a rift.
He had a chance to come on this show and apologize for not getting the story.
By this show, he does
right.
mean Football Americas.
To come on any show. I don't care where Jeff Carlisle does it. Come on some show. This would have been a good platform because they talked about the fucking article for him to say, listen, this is why I got it wrong. This is why, and I apologize for getting it wrong.
I want to set the record straight, people.
Yeah, but Jeff takes no responsibility for this. And quite frankly, I agree with Herc. I'd be irritable have to do this interview as well because they had to. And, it's sort of what they do, like once a month with Jeff Carlisle. So aren't you the guys that coined the term Camp Cupcake? I think they might have been.
I think we did, man.
I think we did.
It's like over a decade ago.
We've been calling it like 11 years ago, but yes.
I mean, somebody might have coined it. We ran with it, but I like to say that we coined it.
I don't remember everybody hearing anybody say that.
Camp Cupcake definitely has a Derekism about it, if you will. It sounds like something Derek would to describe shit.
I thought you did it.
It's possible. I mean, maybe I'll take credit for whatever. I mean, that universally accepted, except for those people who are butthurt by the term Camp Cupcake, as assuming it is a lesser window. And it is a lesser window. It is a lesser window.
You're only taking people from one league, and maybe a few Scandi guys usually get thrown in there.
Or some South American players that aren't playing,
South American players.
You mean like didn't Johnny Soccer come up and play in the last window though?
He might have, yeah. So I guess you're right now, but not traditionally.
I guess anybody who's not playing could in fact go.
We didn't used to have any players in South America until recently.
Up until recently, we won't, because Alan Sonora's coming back up either to North America or to Europe, and Johnny Soccer's on his way to Europe.
I think Joel wants to go back to Europe and try again.
Basically, we
Cardoso's leaving. Yeah. Matko Miljevic. He's up playing in Toronto now. He used to play in Argentina. So not many Americans left in Argentina. Who came up with Landy Cakes? That we did not come up with.
That was not us. I would like to take credit for that, but it was not us.
Yeah, I don't think we ever really called them Landy Cakes much. We did make fun of them, and we did have
water fountain pose. I think that's really where Landy Cakes came from. Seriously, guys.
We posted the Twinkies box thing up a bunch, but
any form of like urban legend or lore around the United States national team, I would like to say that we came up with, but I can't with Landy Cakes. I think that came before us.
That did. That was around before us, because we would have never called them that. In fact, we spent most of our time in the old days defending Landon Donovan.
You almost said Landy Cakes.
I almost did,
right.
yes.
But back to the topic here. But
Okay.
Jeff's not taking any.
No, he's not
taking all
taking
the
any
credit, but not taking any responsibility, huh?
No, he took no responsibility on this show. Go watch it. And it's just frustrating because I think in some ways Herc's like, you made this rift worse. You did, because you didn't get it right. And now there are hundreds of papers out there running with the blackmail story. And there are hundreds of YouTubers putting up their stupid blackmail fucking,
and a bajillion
posts.
tweets going out. Blackmail. So
yeah, somebody's going to get sued. It might be Jeff. I don't think it's going to be Jeff. I'm just saying somebody's got to take responsibility for that. Somebody does.
But while here's the thing though. I don't even think Jeff coined blackmail for this thing, because this was all over social media. Like literally when Berhalter came out and posted this thing, all of the media, all the former soccer players that are now kind of content creators and stuff like that, all ran with the blackmail topic. I even when Berlin came out, he's like, "Hey, what the fuck's happened? I've been out for like 3 hours." I'm like, "Well, apparently, blah 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 blah." But that's all I know as of right now.
Wasn't the original headline for this ESPN article? Did it not mention blackmail?
Yeah, but that came out like 24 hours later. But yes. That's what everybody pulls though when they talk about it, blackmail.
That's exactly what the problem is.
No. I'm saying that the whole blackmailing terminology occurred like minutes after Berhalter's statement came out on Twitter.
Well, if any moron who's a journalist out there reads Greg's implication there or his insinuation and runs with blackmail, I think
legally speaking, that's smart.
I'm not
a lawyer, so I don't know. Maybe they have an out being journalists and stuff like that, but come on.
Well, if you're Jeff, you just hit the edit button and then you start fixing the article where you got it wrong. And then when Herc or Seb asks you about it, about the whole fact that everyone's calling it blackmail, and you just gloss over the fact that you're the one of the people that made that a problem, and you don't even own up to it. Yeah, that's a problem, Jeff. That's a problem, dude. I'm sorry.
I shouldn't have used the term blackmail, but that's what my sources were saying. I ran with it. In hindsight, probably shouldn't have said that.
And Jeff looked uncomfortable on this show, by the way. Mm-hmm. He did. And this guy's been around a long time. I have only mostly respect for him up until this last article, which I thought was unbecoming of him. And then to not take any credit for it and say, listen, I kind of started the blackmail thing. It's my fault. I edited it and I fixed it. And I'm sorry it took so long to fix. I apologize.
But it's a slippery slope with these type of articles. God, imagine if you could go into the analytics and find out how many clicks that article got. Oh, yeah. Home run. So
Brett, he got his clicks. Now's the time to apologize.
No, he apologized. I'm assuming from a legal standpoint, he apologized by editing his article to where now it says like there's a rift between Berhalter and Reyna.
Listen, it's not funny to me.
I'm not saying
you're a journalist. No, it's not.
I'm saying it's not funny. I'm not agreeing with you.
I'm just saying he's a journalist. He fucked up. He fixed his fuck up. Didn't say, "Oh, I fucked that up." Never had to. Never wrote any article about all the retractions and edits he made on that article. And then he comes on this show and they bring up the topic and he just says, well, it's not really blackmail. Well, wonder why so many people think it is. I wonder.
Well, I mean, so this is again going back to the little clicks thing. This isn't the first. This was his first article. Maybe that was purely for clicks. I don't know if it was, but maybe it was.
Oh, I doubt it's not the first.
It definitely got clicks. But he has another article that just came out today.
Dude, I mean, he has to make money and get clicks.
He's on ESPN. What money does he have to make? ESPN, Disney pays him to do it.
Yeah, but he's got to get results or they're going to hire somebody else. And, I would bet, listen, I'm going back to the days when I wrote, you don't always get to pick your own fucking headline for your fucking article.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that one, yes.
So Jeff may not have had anything to do with that. But I would have said, as the writer, hey, you can't have that as a headline.
No. Oh, you mean the blackmail?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but we have a second article here where it says Berhalter versus Reyna explained. Does the drama trace its roots to overbearing parents in the U.S.
No, that's the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Did he let them break this headline too?
Well, maybe it's possible because this entire article, and I'm not going to show. I mean, we're not going to read through it all, guys, but
none of it.
This whole thing right here. This whole thing right here. Keeps going. Okay, right there. So from here, all the way up. Derek, how many paragraphs do you think have to talk about Berhalter and Reyna?
Based on what you're saying, 2.
2 to 3.
Okay.
2 to 3. And I've got some snippets here talking about it because I'm not a big fan of the verbiage behind it because it leads you to believe that the whole Berhalter and Reyna situation is nothing more than just a soccer mom gone crazy type of scenario. So
shit.
The rest of the article, guys, go and read the article. The article itself is actually engaging. I mean, it's a whole, for those of us who have coached, who had kids in soccer at any point, you know that there's some overbearing parents that are pissed off whenever their kid's not getting the playing time that they think they should get. Sure, I don't disagree with that. And there's a lot of science actually in this article that go behind it. They have decades of evidence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
But Reyna's ain't your average parents, though, are they?
And Gio's not your average player either. So
exactly.
But yeah, so Derek, I want you to go ahead and give this a read real quick.
Claudio Reyna, former U.S. international and current sporting director for MLS side Austin FC, has been friends with Berhalter for decades and was the best man at Berhalter's wedding. Their respective wives were teammates at the University of North Carolina from 91 to 94 and spent some of that time as roommates.
Paragraph. Or
okay. And the two families remain close. Yeah, when the younger
no. So what that you read right there, that part right there.
That's the problem.
That's all just fluff to build up this family type of mentality. And it's not and then read the lessons here.
Yet when the younger Reyna's playing time in Qatar was significantly less than expected, that was the catalyst for unraveling of a relationship in full view of the public. That's what happened. It wasn't about overbearing parents in the sense that soccer moms and soccer dads. No, this was a family fucking affair.
Yes, but it wasn't about the playing time in Qatar was significantly less than expected. And again, maybe Jeff has more inside information, but as far as what the timeline has spilled out at this point, as far as everybody's talking about, where Claudio had confronted Ernie and McBride about anything was after the blowout, where Berhalter was willing to ship Gio home.
Right, not about the playing time.
That's when it was. It might have had something to do with, your time is going to be, your role is going to be limited. That's possible. I'm not saying that's not possible. What I'm saying is, according to the timeline, all we know is that this occurred after the threat to ship him home. And I got to imagine if that's the first that they're really hearing about, and I don't know I hope more information comes out because I'd like to know how that's all handled. But if all of a sudden you get a call from your son saying, "Dude, Berhalter's about to ship me home," I mean, I can understand if you're the best man at their wedding, you've been knowing each other for 3 decades, and all of a sudden he's about to ship your son home.
You've known Reyna since
he
was
the shit.
Like 3 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, take 29's comments in the Twitter Spaces with a grain of salt and everything like that. But he did leak this scenario where there was a situation where Danielle was like sobbing, saying that we have to fix this. We have to figure out how we can fix this.
Mm-hmm.
It all adds up. Now,
So
nobody's reporting on that shit, but it all adds up.
I think what we're saying here is just kind of twisting the story a little here.
I feel like it's definitely leaning heavily on one side of the scale, if you will.
Yeah, it's basically saying, like Reyna was told he wasn't getting any playing time, and he called his dad, and bam, shit's happened.
Did I say 30 decades? Fuck. I mean, I joke around and say Berhalter looks like Skeletor, but
yeah, he kind of does. All right, well, that's too small. Reyna has admitted to sending multiple communications, this is Claudio, to U.S. Soccer Federation Sporting Director Ernie Stewart and Brian McBride about his son's role, when Berhalter, speaking at a post-World Cup leadership conference, made a reference to a player he nearly sent home, later identified as Gio Reyna. Not that much later, like almost instantaneously.
Yeah, really. Anybody who read that knew who it was.
Exactly. The ante was up further, with Reyna's wife, Danielle, admitting she told Stewart of an incident of domestic violence in 91 involving Berhalter and his now wife, Rosalind. Now, amid a disintegrating friendship, the USSF is investigating. But this is what it's about. It's about the disintegrating. It was, yes, were the Reynas entitled? Yes, but this is all because of the closeness they had with Berhalter. When my son was on soccer teams coached by some dude I didn't know. He wasn't my friend. I knew there were some lines I wasn't going to cross, like one get in his face and start yelling.
It's funny you bring that up because the article itself goes into talking about how like club soccer and even youth national soccer now is a situation where like the parents, you know, go out and have dinner with the coaches and stuff like that. They're all like a close knit family. And then there's the whole overbearing aspect of it. So it's kind of funny you bring that up. But the first line there, Claudio Reyna has admitted to sending multiple communications to U.S. Soccer Federation sporting director Ernie Stewart and Brian McBride about his son's role. Again, I mean, until we see the messages, and the messages could have been verbal, I guess. They could have been like passing in the hall and say, hey, what the fuck, you know. But when were the messages sent and what was it about?
Well, and that sentence is so generic that the son's role could also actually include the fact that he was going to be sent home.
Yes.
Not having any role at all.
It doesn't specify that. All it specifies is like, oh, he wasn't going to get much playing time because he didn't get much playing time, and that's what the Reynas are pissed off about.
Yeah, it's a very generic sentence.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know,
and again,
it's not great, but
I want to reiterate that I don't necessarily think the Reynas are not at fault by anything. I think it's possible that in the end, if all the information comes out, we might find out Berhalter might have been in the right, and the Reynas might have definitely been in the wrong.
Well, the Reynas were definitely in the wrong.
Well, they're in the wrong about certain things, yes.
I mean, they fucked up. They should have just got out of the way, frankly.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
The son's 19 years old.
Yeah. No, well, again, the issue, we talked about this. The issue is that it is literally best friend and best friend. And all of a sudden you hear your best friend is shipping your son off home. You're going to feel hurt from that. I don't necessarily fault the issue at the World Cup itself, because that was like that. If that was the first sting and whatever, all that shit, that would have hurt. If my best friend was willing to all of a sudden ship my son off because my son was being an asshat and didn't work at practice because he was throwing a temper tantrum, here's what you do. Hey, Claudio, your son's being a dick. Get him fixed, you know?
Yeah.
And then that would have been it.
Yep.
But you know, Claudio was probably looking at it going like, why is he shipping my son home? This is bullshit. Let's fix this, you know, we'll get this rectified. What happened afterwards should never have happened.
Or if Claudio and Greg are as close as they supposedly are, Claudio calls Greg and says, hey man, I hear some shit's going down.
Yeah.
What can I do to help? Let's fix this.
And then that leads me to I brought this up a show or two ago. I don't think the first scab picked at was Gio being a moody player, you know, and possibly being shipped home. I don't think that was the first thing, because that, again, to your point, if you're best friends, you're like, you call them up and like, hey dude, what's happening? Or you walk down to the closest where Berhalter's staying, and you say, you know, face to face, hey, what's happening? What can we do to fix this? Do I need to go and smack my kid across the face? You know, not literally, but maybe literally. I mean,
yeah, put a foot up his ass, light a fire underneath him.
This kid is a death by 1,000 pricks or stabs, or whatever the fuck the phrase is. I don't think this was the first. I don't think this is the first prick, if you will.
Cuts, death by 1,000 cuts. It's an old Chinese, not torture method. It's actual execution method. And they're actually gruesome photos.
Kind of sounds like a fucking torture method, if you ask me.
It's torture. It's called torturing to death.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are actually photos of one of the last two people that was ever done to in the early 1900s. Two executions were done by death by 1,000 cuts. And there are people taking photographs of it. They do exist out there if you're into that kind of gruesome shit. I personally am not, But I studied that part of history, and I did have to see those photos. They are horrible. All right. Next.
But
I think
yeah,
we're done with that topic. Let's start our actual topic.
But yeah, that covers all that. Basically, is that mainstream media has been questionable at best at times.
Well, it's just disappointing. I mean, I really like so much work that Jeff's done.
Oh, 100%. And like I said, that article that we just picked 2 paragraphs apart at.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the rest of it. It was a good read. And I if you guys want to go and read it, go read it. But I mean, there's nothing mind blowing by means. Yes, parents are overbearing sometimes, especially in club soccer.
I mean, you used to have to publish retractions, you know. Anyhow, that's a whole nother story.
It is
because Jeff obviously is a bigger writer than I've ever been in my life. Because I had a real job. That's actually his job. I just did it on the side. So let's get to. I mean, I really don't want to call this U.S. men's national team busts, although that was part of the title, right? And the reason, so that's kind of not true, because like, is a person or as a kid that's never going to really contribute to the U.S. men's national team a bust? Not necessarily career-wise. He could have a great career in MLS, but he's just a bust for U.S. men's national team.
Or he can languish between the second and third divisions of whatever country he plays in.
Or USL.
Yeah. Or USL, yeah.
I mean,
still be a very successful soccer player and not play for the U.S. men's national team.
You could make a living.
Yeah.
He could be a good professional, but he's not going to amount to enough to be on the U.S. men's national team going forward.
No.
So let's talk about some of the young ones. Let's start. You want to start with Matt Rotaccio, who's, by the way, that's not him.
I don't have Rotaccio up here. But it's not.
It's under yours.
All right, I'll pull him up in a second.
All right. So anyhow, Matt, who is actually still at Liverpool, is now playing back down at the U21s, which is really weird because in 2020 he actually joined Liverpool's U23s and played a handful of games. But then they sent him off to loan to Charleston in the USL for 21-22, where he didn't play. He simply fucking went to the USL and did not play.
The problem with Matt in that sense is that he was plagued with injuries for a while in his youth. I don't know what it was after.
Yeah, not that many. You're thinking about the other kid.
Am I thinking about the other kid? Am I mixing them? Our 2 Liverpool Academy kids?
Yes, the last one that came back that was Pelosi.
Yes,
you're mixing them up with Pelosi.
Definitely was injured bound. Yeah, I thought Matt was too, though.
Matt has had some injuries, but not like Pelosi did. And then he rejoined Liverpool, and they, instead of, now that he's 21, sending him to the U23s where he's been before, they sent his ass down to the U21s. Like, that's a bad sign. And he's played 8 games in 4 years at Liverpool. 8 for the youth teams, the U21s and the U23s. This is not a good sign. And then he went to Charleston and he didn't play. So I am ready to declare Mateo done. He's never going to play a part for the U.S. men's national team. I'm sorry. People are going to say, isn't 21 too young to say he's done? Well, unless he's a fucking late bloomer, which is rare. Late bloomers are rare. I think he's done.
When generally speaking, at that age, 21, you already know the level of you can fine tune certain aspects of your game, but you already know exactly where your level is going to be at that point. Right. And that's not to say, and we see why am I spacing the kid's name that's down in Sunderland right now? Help me out here.
Gooch.
Yes. So we saw Gooch go down with Sunderland and stay with the boat all the way into League One.
Yeah.
Now he's back up into Championship.
Yep.
And there was definitely contention where they could have been contending. I don't know where they're at now. But
and he was a starter until he got injured. Now he's going to have to work his ass back onto the starting lineup. But
I don't know.
Still,
he was pretty much competitive. He was a standout when he was playing, man. I don't think it's going to take that much.
They still have a chance to get promoted.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah. I'm just saying I think Gooch will not have as hard of a re-entry, if you will.
Yeah, no, he's all lubed up. So that's Matt. Let's move on to Maurice Malone, because this is sort of weird, because I'm going to say he's not a bust yet. Right?
Okay, so now you're just screwing around with me now. You're like, let's stick to the fucking order.
I am.
No, you're not.
Oh,
well,
Emerson Hyman.
You're
I'm
way
sorry.
off. Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Let's do Hyman.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Be fine.
My notes are messy. I'll start talking about Hyman, and you find him. All right. So there's Emerson. I think a lot of us had a lot of hopes for this kid, especially when he went to Rangers on loan. Then he came to Atlanta United, and Greg was trying to get him to call him up, and then of course being Berhalter. No. Fuck, I just forgot his name. The Atlanta United fucking Bocanegra.
Yeah, jeez.
Bocanegra being who Bocanegra is, he just doesn't let a lot of his guys go and do national team duty. But now Atlanta United don't even want him. So abandon ship on Emerson Hyman. And I think we've seen enough to know where his ceiling is. I don't think he's ever going to contribute. So
no.
Yeah.
We have Sean Weeks saying he's going to be the next De La Torre.
I don't think he'll even get to that. Yeah. And he said Hyman.
Well, Chris Gary says Buster Hyman.
Buster Hyman. Yeah. I knew that was coming next. All right.
Next.
Maurice Malone, who is currently in Austria's top league. And he's played 10 games so far since he was loaned out from Augsburg to Wolfsberger in Austria, and he has 4 goals and 3 assists. There was a time when a lot of people were like, man, we got to keep an eye on this guy. I think we still do. I don't think I'm ready to call him done yet. I know he is also in his 20s. I get it. But I do think that if you send him off to Austria and he's scoring a bunch of goals, that can translate. It can translate back to the Bundesliga. More likely, will he end up in Bundesliga 2 or lower Bundesliga team? Probably. But I'm not giving up on Maurice Malone yet, even though he's mostly German. Actually, he was born in Germany. But he's another, German-American. Conrad de la Fuente. Oh, go ahead.
I guess before we start pulling up a bunch of the other players here, first off, I don't recall. Was it De La Fuente?
I thought you did get Conrad.
No, I did not. We don't need this. Everybody knows who Conrad is. I do want to specify that, especially looking at the comments on our Twitter page, that there's not going to be a lot of the people you might think, like the Chays or the
why would we call Chay a bust yet?
Cowell or Clark or anything like that. The funny thing is that some of these players are not that much older than those players, but yeah, they're in different. A lot of these players are going to be relatively unknown / member berries, if you will.
Why do I want to put Cal on there? I've already talked about it 1,000 times. He's got a ceiling. He's not going to be good enough.
He's Everton bound. What are you talking about, Derek? Come on.
He's not going to be good enough for the U.S. men's national team, period. And he's not going to Everton either. So there you go. And
we did Conrad. That's right. We're going to talk about Conrad.
We can skip over Conrad because I've already done a soliloquy on Conrad is a bust.
I have hope that if Conrad can fix this shit like Green did, he might be somewhere there. Not going to say necessarily a contender per se, but You mean playing
for one of the worst Bundesliga teams?
Maybe
in Germany and not ever getting called up again for the U.S. men's national team? Yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah, sure, maybe. He might do that.
No, you know what? Green was going to be called in during the Gold Cup, but he ended up doing preseason for his club that then got relegated.
Right.
But no, I'm saying I've got hope that if Conrad can fix his shit, whatever shit it is, and I'm not sure what's fucking. Maybe it's mental. Maybe it's just attitude. I don't know.
3 coaches have said it. It's not a secret. He doesn't work. He doesn't work hard. He's lazy. He doesn't come with a fire in his belly. He doesn't play defense.
Enough people are posting some of these names.
I'm not ready to give up on Hoppy either.
Hoppy's current coach at Borough has stated that he likes a lot of what he's seeing from Hoppy, but just not seeing him break the mold at this point.
Yeah,
it sucks, but they're contending. They're contending for a playoff spot.
Yes.
So I mean, they're not gonna rock the ship too much. Unfortunately,
if you're a championship team and you are looking to be promoted and you're somewhere in that zone, you don't go out and play a bunch of young kids. That's why if you're a young kid going to the championship, it's not always the right answer. Busio, I mean, as far as contributing to the U.S. men's national team, I think he's done. I think he's broke. Mm-hmm. He's done. He's over. I think that I never really had much hope in him anyhow. So he's going to go on another loan or go to another team. Jesus Christ. Listen, I'm going to give Hoppy a little more time, but if he doesn't figure this out, he's going to join the list. And I hate saying that because I have personal.
He's another Gideon for you, isn't it?
No, I actually have personal relationships. So anyhow, it's personal.
You went to prom with him, huh?
So I should just bring that up and be out front that, I want him to succeed because of a personal relationship that I'm not going to talk about here. All right. Let's move on to Sebastian Soto.
Oh,
bust.
Soto, huh?
Bust. Gone. Done.
Massive bust.
Klagenfurt. Need I say more? He couldn't
crack the SPL.
He couldn't crack Livingston. Now he's at Klagenfurt. He's Klagenfurting it. Yeah. All right. I don't even want to hear anybody whine about Sebastian Soto moving to fucking Chile or wherever else
playing for Chile, because imagine Chile's got a plethora of players that are better at this point.
Yeah. Adam, you don't have to give up on him. That's fine. I'm not asking all of you to give up on him, but I'm just telling you what I think and what I'm calling here. And I've not been wrong. I've not been wrong before. Not yet. I mean, if I'm going to be wrong, I'm giving you all a big opportunity a few years from now. If Busio becomes one of the best regular starters for the U.S. men's national team, to make me eat some serious fucking crow. I am giving you that opportunity. Yes. But you don't have to believe what I believe. You can listen. So many people. I lost a friendship over a guy who I didn't know him that long. I knew him, like 6 years, Brett, when he was the biggest Freddie Adu supporter. And I hammered him year after year saying, you give up yet? You give up yet? Are you about to give up yet?
Like it caused a rift between all of us, Derek.
And it did.
It was all on
you. To a point where he had become so absurd. I
wonder what he's up to nowadays.
I don't know. I had to tune him out. And then also because all my friends were attacking him and calling him a moron. And he's like, well, I'm outie. I'm like, dude, all right, bye. But don't come here and be an idiot. All right. Is he your illegitimate son? Who?
Talking about Hoppy.
No, he's not.
I'm going to show these to you now so you don't have to go back and reread these. Okay?
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, not that kind of a personal relationship. For Christ's sake, guys. Not his grandma.
You totally walked into this one, Derek.
I'm not going to talk about it.
You are constantly saying share with your grandma. So I don't blame the chat for thinking that you have something for the
that's fine. No, I'm fine.
Nothing wrong with the guilt.
I was on my deathbed. I'd fuck a grandma. All right. All right. So Indiana Vasilev.
Oh, hey, there's a V somewhere around here.
Indiana Vasilev. He is. I know we had all this great hope for this kid at Aston Villa, and when he got to play a couple games, we were all spanking it. Mm-hmm. But then he went to Inter Miami. He was an okay player. It's pretty good. Wasn't bad. But I think he's shown his ceiling. I think.
Funny thing is, I remember a lot of these players from the big soccer days, just from like the really young players going up.
They were on the U13s and
you start like, there's this kid going to Aston Villa. Like the same thing happened with Leggett back in the day. Same thing happened with spacing names now.
Well, regardless, went off to West Ham.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's just one of those ones that looked good for a short while, and it just sort of fizzled. And I'm not saying he's not going to be a good pro. He's going to be a good MLS pro. But he's pretty much done. I think Vasilev is 21 now. I believe he's 20 or 21, somewhere around there.
Let's see here.
Might be older even, but I think it's 21. You guys can't expect me to have everybody's
21.
age.
Yeah,
okay, I got it right the first time. I should have shut up right after that.
Always go with your first guess here.
Yeah, Jack
Hold on real quick before we jump into the other person.
Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, with a lot of these players, you're gonna see a reoccurring theme that pretty much outside of a couple, the vast majority of these players are like 21 years, 20 to 22 range.
Yeah,
I mean almost spot on. And what we've talked about this when Tack was on the show last, and we've talked about it many times. But for every Pulisic that's out there, there's 10 to 15 players that have gone to Europe that have flamed out. Nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah,
ever.
Most of it is failure.
So,
but the thing is, people get a grip on a player. They really want to succeed.
Yeah, this is
and they won't let go. They won't let go.
Going for Cagliari. It's great. Oh, now he's back. Now he's back playing in USL and MLS. Oh shit.
Oh, here's a good example. The next one is great example of that. Jack Imperato, who went to Villarreal.
Mm-hmm.
And now look, welcome back, Jack, to Orange County FC. So yeah, well, not even an MLS team. All right, to USL. All right, and they didn't keep him very long.
I will say though, the young players that are going to USL, and that might be the better option, quite frankly. If they have hopes and inspiration to play in Europe again, and they have to come back to US because nobody in Europe wants them right now. Let's just say.
Here's what happens.
Playing at USL might be the better option because you sign almost a yearly contract with them. And if you have a breakout year, you might find your way back to a lower division in Europe.
Here's what really happens. You go to Europe, you join the Villarreal youth team, you play some youth games. Villarreal goes, I don't know if we really want.
Yeah.
And but Espanyol shows up and goes, but I think we might want him. And then he ends up at the Espanyol youth teams. And then, Espanyol goes, but Elche goes, but we think he, and then you
wait a minute.
Yeah. So a lot of these guys you'll notice have gone through multiple youth teams, especially in Germany, but it's just from one level down to the next level, down to the next level of quality of team. That's not a good sign, but going to Villarreal and being sent home pretty much right away is not good news if you're Jack. All right. Kevin Langford. I don't even know why I put him in here. He's not young. But if anybody was still wondering about him, he's down in 3 Bundesliga playing for Victoria Köln. Kyle Scott, remember him?
I do remember
Kyle Scott.
His name popped up on the big soccer boards that everybody creamed.
He plays for Chelsea.
He's playing for Chelsea. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Well, Kyle Scott came over and played a couple dickless games in MLS, and now he's down with Orange County. He is 20. Yeah, he is 25 years old, so he's done.
I mean, I feel like at that point, you come up through the Chelsea Academy and the youth programs and stuff. You should be able to get a 4th or maybe even a 5th division England. I mean, that's interested. And I feel like you're going to make more money and have a better chance to continue a career at a lower division at that point.
He went to Holland and played for starts with a V. Anyhow, he played in the, I think, 2nd division in Holland. His coach basically said, yeah, he's a fine player. He's rather gifted, but you know what? I'll take like 10 other players over a guy like that every day who go out and bust their fucking nuts and battle. I want players to go to war.
An attitude issue then?
He didn't go to war, apparently.
We're sitting here talking about practice?
He's basically saying he had a limp dick attitude. Is basically what he wasn't a warrior, and that's what he wanted. So when your coach starts saying things like that, and then they immediately end the loan early, yeah, it's not good. So you can count him out.
And he was never in contention at this point. Come on.
Yeah. Leonard Maloney, who just spent 2 seasons with Dortmund, slower team.
I pulled him up because I got rid of it because I read too many. I read Malone and I read Maloney. I'm like, oh, maybe I miswrote his name.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's done.
Where's he at now? He's in the second Bundesliga, isn't he?
Heidenheim. Yeah.
Okay.
He's done. He's done. Even when he moved to Dortmund, I told you he was done, remember? You remember
I didn't know he moved to Dortmund. I thought he was just part of Dortmund's system.
He was playing Dortmund too.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I said he's never going to get.
Well, I mean, he also came up and he got a couple of matches there, or at least on the bench, and then came in late or whatever with Dortmund won, and then all of a sudden he got chipped off. And you're right. I'm not discrediting that.
No, they had 1,000 injuries, so they brought him in.
Yeah.
I
thought maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. All right. Another one that people used to really love is Isaiah Young. Remember when he went over there? Mr. Young. You can just cross him off your list too. He now plays for Rot-Weiß Essen, which is a weird name for a team because it basically in English means red, white, eating. Red, white, eating. That's what that Essen is eating, or eat, to eat in German. And Rot-Weiß is red, white. So that's a weird name for a team. I'm sure there's some history behind that, but that's down there in 3 Liga. So, yeah, it's been a pretty much downward trajectory for Mr. Isaiah Young since he was at Schalke. So you can write him off. Jalen Hawkins started up there with our good buddies at Bayern Munich. And you thought, oh, boy. Yeah, well, now he is at Ingolstadt. He did do, I think he's on loan.
What's happened to all of our boys from Bayern? I think obviously Booth's
doing fine.
The biggest one to talk about. But I mean,
all
of our Bayern boys were like, what happened to them? Where'd they go?
Yeah, they haven't amounted to much. But Jalen Hawkins, he's now on loan with FC Saarbrücken. Ingolstadt is a horrible team, and he can't even play there on a regular basis. So I think you can cross him off your list if you still had him on there. Another one to cross off your list, even though
I still believe that most people that are in our chat, the 112 people listening right now, that have not hit like yet, but should. I think the 112 people are sitting here going like, who the fuck are we talking about here?
Some of them might
Hawkins?
be. Well, listen, if you are dedicated and you watched a kid who starts out at Bundesliga and is started by Bayern Munich, you're thinking, well, this kid's going to be great. And then he ends up at Ingolstadt and he can't play in 2 Bundesliga except for a handful of games. And now he's with Saarbrücken? Seriously?
One only has to look at green when it comes to the Bayern program. And Bayern program, I feel like any of the big clubs are looking at it in the sense of like, we're going to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks.
No, I think they do pretty good. Look, like they got Taylor Booth. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah, he's stuck.
So I don't think they always get it wrong. But just like every other academy, only a small percentage of the kids actually end up being like 1 Bundesliga pro quality type players. So it's a tiny percentage. I mean, you're talking about academies that are filled with from up to down in Bayern. You're talking about over 300 kids. So some of them are going to fail. Majority of them will fail. Maybe 2% come out and become 3%, 5% come out as real quality.
What do you specify when it comes to fail? I mean, I would imagine most of those kids probably end up, not most probably, I'd imagine a good number of them probably end up in the second and third at that point.
Yeah. I guess,
I guess fail would be like, I didn't end up playing for Bayern.
Right. Or any other 1 Bundesliga team.
Yeah.
Bundesliga, so and in essence, if you're a youth player at Bayern, you're thinking, wow, I'm going to be a superstar. That's generally what a lot of those kids think. And a lot of it doesn't work out. Philippe Sandler. A lot of people talked about this kid extensively. Like, oh my God, he's at Man City, but then he goes on all these loans and he never gets to play. And then he's injured all the fucking time. And now he's at NEC at Holland. And guess what? He doesn't play. And guess what? He's 25. Cross him off your list.
Yeah, he's out.
He's done. Even if he would have, like right now, he begged to play for the United States because he ain't ever playing for fucking Holland. I'll tell you that right now. Not happening. And a lot of it was
great response there, Derek. Here you go.
Who? Well, let's put it this way. He and Eric Palmer Brown were loaned out to Troyes. Who played?
Guess who played? Yeah.
Eric Palmer Brown plays. He didn't get to play. All right.
Well, you got to remember.
And people were loving
he was also
this kid.
scouted by you at the time.
Oh God! All the big teams were after this kid, and Man City landed him. And all the Americans were, well, people in the know were like drooling. Oh, Philippe Sandra. Oh, is he?
I feel like the people in the know are generally the people like that frequented the big soccer at the time. And I'm not saying that's now, because obviously big soccer now is a shell of its former self from what it used to be.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's how everybody knew about everybody. Like some random kid that's playing in the U14s for insert random team here. Somebody's like, oh, here's an American playing for Man City. I'm like, oh, cool. And then 6 years later, you find out that he's been arrested for, I don't know, drug use.
Well, people are like, well, how's the American? Because, like, Adam Sandler went over to Holland and fucked some bitches, man. That's how he's fucking a fucking American. No, that's not.
That's all that matters.
That's not how it happened, but that would be.
It doesn't matter. If
Adam
Sandler did go over there and fuck some bitches.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've got American citizenship.
He's not good enough. That's the period. Another guy that everybody had high hopes for when he made that move to QPR was Charlie Kellman.
Yeah, and maybe. Yep, there he is.
I just have to tell you,
and everything.
He's now playing at Leyton Orient.
Yeah, he's 4th division, guys.
Dude,
he's
fucking 21 years old. All right, he's done. That's it. That's like, if you're 21 and you're showing so little that you're down with Leyton Orient, you're probably done, unless your name is the guy from Leicester,
Vardy.
Vardy. Unless you're Jamie Vardy. All right, and Jamie Vardys are 1 in a million.
Yeah,
like late bloomers like that are 1 in a million. Adam Sandler doesn't have an athletic load in his nuts.
He's actually a really good basketball player. Now, he can't run up and down the court, but if he could stand at one spot and just shoot threes all day, he's pretty good.
And he has a fucking amazing talking goat fucking voice. All right.
That was probably the worst goat impersonation I've ever seen. Do your direct voice. That'd probably be better.
Is that you, Go? Of course it's me. What do you fuck? What? I'm just sitting up here on here. All right.
Getting better there. You had to fine tune it there, man.
Yeah. Hey, we went on the loop-de-loops. And then the old man, he fucking beat me. All right. So that's part of that whole thing. You got to go check out Adam Sandler's CD, first comedy CD, I think it was. It's fucking hilarious. And the segment's called The Talking Goat. They run into a talking goat. All right. And Ben Lederman.
Oh my goodness. It's been so long since I've heard this name.
Oh my God, Ben! Ben's in Barcelona! Oh my God! Yeah, because his mom paid for him to be there. All right.
And there's a whole legality issue there, too.
There was.
He didn't get to play for like a year and a half.
And now he's at the Rakow Sesoshawa in Poland.
Averaging 43 minutes a game.
He's doing not bad for Poland. I think he's doing good. And by the way, he started playing for the Polish youth team, so he's kind of out.
For how hyped everybody was on him, being at the Barcelona Academy and playing well. There were highlight clips of him doing incredible performances, but he's pulling 43 minutes in the Polish league right now.
If you knew his parents, you would have known he wasn't going to amount to much. That's all I'm saying. And don't come sue me for saying that. But his parents were overprotective.
Allegedly he wasn't going to do anything good.
Overprotective, whiny bitches. And there are interviews out there. If you don't believe me, with the parents, go look them up.
Shit, let me scroll down to the Carlisle interview. Maybe he's in there somewhere.
No, he's not. Ben Lederman, his parents. Ben Lederman. Whiny.
Hey,
all right.
Derek, he might be out for the U.S. anyways because didn't he decide to take up his Polish roots and try to play for Poland?
That's what I said. Yes, he's now playing with the Polish youth teams. All right.
Is he still classified in the youth teams? How old is Lederman?
He's like playing on he's not that old yet. He's like 21, 22 years old.
Lederman. I'm curious because he's been now again big soccer. He's been in there for like a decade.
Yes, since he was like 10.
He's 22. He is 22.
Okay.
Not many youth programs left for him. Olympic soccer. That's about it.
How do I get most of these ages right? You must ask yourself.
I'm not going to touch out with the 10-foot pool, Derek.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm not going to touch out with your pool.
It's a fucking steel trap, brother. That's what this is. That's not true. All right.
That's not true.
Shashua Brothers. If I could fart right now, I would. Because
Wait, did you just?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I wonder there's two. Yeah, because I got rid of one. I was like, holy shit, there's two of them up there. So
they're not playing for us. So they're not playing for England. They're not playing for whatever that other third country they qualify for. They're not playing for any of those countries. They're not that good. They're not good enough. Period. End of story.
There's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Joshua Penadath.
Where's he at now?
Pretty sure he's out. He's gone. He's retired. Like, I think the Dutch team said sayonara to Joshua Penadath. Look him up real quick. Pretty sure. That's just in my brain.
He's playing he's still playing for AZ, the second team.
Not playing.
Current team. He's on the second team for AZ.
Yeah, look up in transfer market. See how much he's playing.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's playing. That's what the quick wiki's showing. All right, hold on. Give me a moment.
Don't go to Wiki.
I'm not. I searched his name. I just found out where he was at. I'm not saying he's playing any. I'm just saying that's where he said he was at. He's had 5 appearances this season.
He's not on AZ. He's not on AZ anymore.
No, he's on the second team. I told you that.
No, he's not on the second team anymore. I don't believe so.
He's had 5 appearances. What random team is he a part of then?
I don't think he's on any team right now.
Current team. Let's go current season here. Current season. Let's see here.
Are you on transfer market?
Yeah.
They get it right, usually.
Jesus Christ, I don't know what this is. I'm not going to click on it. It must be the second, wherever the second team's located at.
Same city.
But not the city. I'm talking about the league. Whatever the league is. Here, I'll just do this.
Yes, put it up. When's the last game he played?
Hold on. Let me zoom in for you. I'm assuming that's whatever division their second team plays for. So 5 games, 1 assist. 154 minutes. Non-squad, non-squad. On the bench, non-squad, non-squad. So the last game he played was back in October.
Not on the squad from 11/17/02 to 1/13/23. Okay, maybe he's still on the squad. I don't know. I was told he was on his way off the team.
He might be. He's not on the squad, so maybe he is on the way out. However, I'm just saying that's where he was at. But again, that was another one of those things where like USSF actually went out and they did like a 10 to 12 minute like documentary about him being in Holland. What team did he play for? Was it PSV or Ajax? The youth clubs. I think it was Ajax youth club.
We just had it up. We should have looked.
Whatever. I'm not pulling it back up. I don't give a rat's ass. But they did like a 10 to 12 minute video documentary of his like day-to-day life, and it sparked so much fucking hype around him, and then you didn't hear a single goddamn thing from him ever since.
Yeah, I haven't written him off, by the way, yet. So he didn't make my list of write-offs.
Yeah. But I don't know enough yet. For that. Yeah, he's in contention for that. It's possible.
He's very young. I think he's 18. Fuck it. Better look that up now. 18, 19?
I'm pulling it up and look.
I'm not quite ready to write him off. 18?
20.
20. Oh, well.
He's in contention there.
He is, yeah. He's ready to be written off, I guess. He's getting ready to be. All right.
He was at Ajax.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Anel Sabanazovic.
I'm assuming that's who that is. Sabanazovic. Yeah. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
No.
There we go. He's right there.
He is now with AEK Athens B team. But I remember people raging like, "Oh man, we got to make sure we get this guy." No, we don't. We don't need to.
I don't even know. I don't even recognize the name.
He's fucking 23 and he plays for their B team. He's done.
I don't recognize the name, so.
All right.
That's not too much.
Matko Miljevic, Montreal. He did play 17 games for Montreal last season. I think he had a couple goals. But he's better at He's better at Taekwondo than he is.
Yahoo!
He did win a youth championship in Taekwondo in Argentina. So I know a lot of people have been bringing up Pulisic lately. Listen, I know he scored a lot of goals, just as many as what's his face for Cincinnati.
Vasquez. I almost said a Derek right there.
I know, Vasquez. I just think that as far as his overall skill level is, I mean, maybe people see his goals and so many of them are tap-ins that people are like, oh, yeah, so what? He scored. But that's a skill to be in the right place at the right time. So
he's also 25.
Yeah, I'm not counting Abobasi out completely, but I just think in the future we're just gonna have so many players in Europe to pick from.
We're having this conversation. I was having this conversation literally an hour before the show with people on Twitter as far as Camp Cupcake, because they're talking about how there are some clubs that are not releasing players, like Acosta, I think is the big one here.
Mm-hmm.
Not releasing Acosta to play because they want to make sure that he's there for the preseason.
And he's healthy.
The preseason starts at the end of January, and I'm guessing the camp, which we still don't have a roster for, oddly enough, is going to be around that time period regardless. So people are speculating maybe this is going to be the end of the January Camp Cupcake. You know, they didn't say Camp Cupcake. It's a January window. I go, no, there's always going to be a point for that. I mean, you always want to be able to evaluate the outliers in MLS and see if they're worthwhile giving a call up for the big boys.
Well, that's why
windows. Because assuming we don't get a coach for another year, which is what all the pundits are saying at this point, it's going to be at least a year. You know, the next coach only needs a year and a half to really evaluate the players for the World Cup. Because we don't have the qualifiers. There's no competitive games. But if we wait to that point, then I don't know. It's just there's not going to be a lot of gambling by the new coach. They're going to go with their what they would assume would be their star players from Europe mostly, and go from there. They're not going to test the people. You know?
Camp Cupcake is becoming more and more irrelevant as more and more of our players decide to take their trade overseas. And so at one point you were looking at maybe 7 or 8 of those MLS kids making your team in the future. Now you're looking at 2 or 3. So is it still worth it just to find who those 2 or 3 are going to be, who are probably going to end up in Europe anyhow if they're that good?
Let's go back and think about this. Former MLS players. Let's see. Turner probably would have been included at some point in Camp Cupcake.
Yes, yeah. So
I'm just saying. Long.
Okay, Zimmerman, Long, not a good examples because they never went to Europe. But
no. That's my point. Is that there's always going to. I mean, I'm assuming if we're going to continue to getting yes-men coaches, there's always going to be an MLS contingent in there.
Yeah, but it's going to get smaller and smaller, dude.
We've been saying that for several decades now.
Dude, how small was it this time? How many MLS players actually got to play in the World Cup?
Got to play is different than being called up, though.
Zimmerman and Morris and
Yedlin.
Acosta and Yedlin and Moore.
And Moore, yeah.
Okay, but that's significantly. They were all subs except for Zimmerman, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
I mean, many of our teams had starters that were MLS players.
Sure.
Well, those days are over. Those days are done.
Oh, Ferreira too, yes. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that.
Those days are done. MLS guys are going to be bench players only, and they're going to be a significantly smaller portion of the total lineup.
That wasn't my point, though. There's still a contingency of the roster itself that is going to be MLS regardless.
Well, how is percentage of not an important thing to talk about?
Well, starting percentage, yes, I'll agree with you on that.
Well, how about
that's
just
going to change, and that's always going to change.
How about just percentage on the bench?
I mean, I imagine there. I don't know.
It's going to get smaller.
It depends how far we want to go down the rabbit hole as far as tinfoil hats and shit. So let's not do that right now.
I don't think it has to do anything with tinfoil hat. It's going to get smaller. It's going to continue to shrink. Period. End of story. It's going to. Unless you think Don Garber has got whoever we hire as the next U.S. men's national team coach by the fucking nutsicles. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't.
Do you think there were better European players than some of our MLS players that were called?
Yes. Yes.
My point. Everybody's
Scally should have played, not more.
not
Obviously.
Yedlin.
De La Torre should have come in, not Acosta. So, yes, the answer is yes. It was still a problem this time around. I think it's going to continue to evolve.
It depends on who we bring in. I'm just saying.
It's going to continue to evolve in a shrinking amount of percentage of players that actually ply their trade in MLS.
Even Robert says there were 9 on the roster, which, yes, I will flat out state, without even looking at the roster of 2014, 9 is down from where we were in 2014.
Morris. Roldan, Morris.
Pulls out Ferreira.
Acosta, Ferreira.
Yedlin, Moore. Zimmerman, Long.
Moore.
Sean Johnson.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's not really fair in the sense that some of those guys actually had played overseas before. So, I don't know. That gave him some sort. Yedlin played the Premier League.
It was an out. They had an out.
Yeah, they had a little out there. All right, let's move on before the night grows too old. Jonathan Amon.
All the way to the front.
Just mark him off because the dude is serially injured.
Yeah, where's that now? I forgot. FCN?
I don't know if he even has a club or if he's still at North Jalen or not, but the dude has been injured for 3 years going.
Yep.
He's done. He is done.
Frustrating to see.
What
is it about this current generation? Because maybe I don't recognize it happening prior because we had such a limited roster pool. But what is it with the current generation of the last 5 or 7 years here, of where the players are habitually injured?
Yeah,
it seems like.
I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that.
Not even consistent stars. I mean, I know the topic of the last week has been Pulisic and his injury woes. Not necessarily for the United States, because as brought up many a time, he didn't miss that many games for the United States for being injured. He missed a lot of games for Chelsea. At least 12 just due to injury. Not counting the games he didn't play, period. But
yep.
But yeah, I mean, you look at everybody. It seems like everybody has had injuries. Everybody.
Well, there's been a lot of them. There's no doubt about that, and we're going to get to one of them. Paxton Pomacall.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ledesma.
No, not. People are like, "Why isn't he's going to be in Europe at any minute?" And they've been saying this for 3 years, and I've been saying, "No, he's not."
He's had 2 full years. I mean, at this point, he could be pushing for that, but I mean, I don't know if he will or not.
Listen, if he goes to Europe, then he's got a shot, but I don't think it's getting late in the game at this point. Not too late, but pretty late. And I mean, he just had a good season, Brett. Look at the season before this. He was awful. FC Dallas was awful the season before the last season.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was his first full season back after being injured
from injured
seasons.
Yeah.
So maybe that played a factor, but it's good to see that he went from having a bad season to having a good season. It's a step in the right direction. He
had a good season, though. Not a blow your balls off season. A good season. An acceptably...
when you're used to getting shit on, man, I mean, imagine any kind of season is going to be a blow your balls season.
An acceptably, an acceptably professional season by Paxton Pomacall.
Yeah.
But he ain't heading anywhere anytime soon.
You know where he might excel? He might excel
hold on.
Yeah,
he might go there. But my point is that his injury history is so extensive. Like, I don't blame teams in Europe for going, I don't know, man. I'm still looking at
2 seasons, no injury. Let's go for season 3, and then maybe we'll consider it.
Yeah. And again, the position he plays, exactly. I don't see an opening for him.
Well, and this is something that's big, too.
And Booth has been, although Booth, in his last game, he played right winger, and he was fucking great. Right winger, way his position. All right, so
like Booth is just happy to be out there, man. We talked about him last live stream where he got staples above his eye and went back out and played.
That was the game. Have you watched his every touch video on that?
No, I have not seen that yet.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I don't think I've seen it. I think maybe I have.
It's phenomenal.
I've watched a number of them, but I don't know if I caught that
the
one.
number of runs he makes with the ball, just phenomenal. Yeah. Stuart Ritchie, not related to me.
Oh, no, this is pronounced Ritchie.
No, his would actually be pronounced Ritchie.
Yeah.
No doubt about it, because it's the Scottish spelling.
Yeah.
And Yeah. Has spent a lot of time in Hanover. A lot of people had a lot of excitement for him, but now he's with the Richmond Kickers. So there you go. He's 21. I think he's done.
There's a reoccurring theme here is how many people are going back to USL.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you go back to the Richmond Kickers if other teams in Germany were like, hey, I know Hanover didn't really want you, but we do. So he had enough time there that he should have attracted some other attention. Kobe Hernandez Foster. Yeah, I hate to say this and tell you all this, but at 20, I think he's done. And I know there were massive hopes for this guy. Where is he now? He's playing for Ham Cam.
Who was the kid that left one of the LA USL teams to France? Because I thought that's who this was at first.
No.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Hopefully somebody in the chat can let me know because that's going to drive me nuts. But then when I saw him in the Wolfsburg kid, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Not the same guy.
No. I just think I just think that's done. Nicholas Carrera at Holstein Kiel. Here's another player I'm not necessarily ready to give up on yet. So one of the exceptions.
There we go. Kobe Henry. That's who it was.
Yeah, thank you. No, Kobe Henry is not ready to be. I'm not ready to call him out.
No. When I saw Kobe Hernandez, Foster, I was like, oh shit, really? And I saw the Wolfsburg. I'm like, no, wrong guy.
Yeah, Kobe Henry just got there. Let's give him some time.
He played. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nicholas Carrera, I am not willing to give up on quite yet either.
Where's he at right now?
He's at Holstein Kiel. He's tall. He's putting on a little bit more weight. I think he's going to be a good player, but I don't know if he's going to be ever a U.S. men's national team player, but I'm not ready to count him out yet. I'm not ready to count him out. One guy I'm definitely ready to count out is Adrian Galliani, who was a big IMG player, development player, was a Nottingham Forest U23 player for a while. Then he went off to Olympiacos too. And people were like, oh, yeah, he's got this fucking European passport. Yeah, he's done.
I feel like that's one thing most people on the boards in general jizz over is that, oh, he's got a passport. He can go over anytime.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Congrats.
Exactly. It didn't work out. He's 21. He's got no club. He's on no club. Tell you everything you need to know.
Bentley says he saw a report that says Henry's doing well. Just want to bring that up since we talked about him briefly.
That's good to know. Lawson Sunderland went to Levante. He's now 21, and he tried a little thing. He's now with Inter Milan. He's 21, and he's at Inter Miami 2 team.
Two team.
Inter Milan, Miami.
He's playing in MLS Next Pro?
Yes. At 21.
Well, Derek, here in a couple of weeks, you can start watching all the MLS Next Pro games, and you can keep up with them.
All right, Gideon Slalom.
Oh no!
This one personally hurts.
I don't know
because
I had Gideon. That's right.
I did actually have some emotional investment in Gideon, and
illegitimate son.
No, no, I didn't get around that much.
So you're aware of.
Well, I was mostly aware. So sad to say, but yeah, he's clubless now. Yeah. Of course, started out at Arsenal, went to Kansas City, and they cut him right away after the first season. He barely played. Then he went to New York City FC, barely played, and now he's got no club.
Yeah.
And unless he wants to go play in USL, he's not going to have a club because he never recovered from those injuries. Just never did. Never mentally got over them. And it
was a knee injury, wasn't it?
Yeah. One of the best parts of his game was his cutting.
Yeah.
And since the ACLs, he can't cut anymore.
I feel like I have to kind of give you a pass on this because it's not like you were just backing the wrong horse as far as talent and skill and stuff like that, but he had a physical and a mental block in the end. And
he talked about it too.
I keep falling back on what Gooch said back in the day when he was at AC. Yeah. He had said, "Hey, just recovered from his knee injury," and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm as healthy as ever, but it's mental at this point. If I make this cut, is it going to pop again? Is it going to just, so you start second guessing yourself, and all of a sudden you're not making cuts as you used to. I mean,
no,
obviously Gooch was different because you're not really cutting that strongly, but
they interviewed Salam a couple of years ago, and he said, "Listen, my biggest problem is I just can't get past the fact that I'm waiting for my knee to blow out on my next cut, and I just can't mentally get over it."
Like I said, every time there's an injury on the field, even if it's like an ankle or a head, I still grab my knee. I'm like, I feel that,
No, once you pop it, you can feel it. It never goes away. That's still in your head. George Bello. Hey, Jose, thank you. Yes, we're still on because we're fucking idiots. All right. Bello.
I appreciate that.
He's done. I mean, I've already done the rant. Do I need to go any more rants about Bello?
Dude, he's averaging like 33 minutes a game when he plays.
In Bundesliga too.
So Tote's done at this point. He could come back to MLS and maybe fall in the same path that Moore and Yedlin have. Although Yedlin has at least a history with European success and everything. Let's say success. I mean, playing in Europe and playing for the Nats.
Dude, at least he played for Sunderland and was not Sunderland.
Newcastle.
Newcastle. I'm sorry, and was a rather effective player. But didn't he play a season with Southampton? Thought he did that too. Rant. No more rants needed about Bello. I said it. I shot my wad. I've said don't bother wasting your time expecting this kid to amount to any more than he is right now, which ain't much.
Joshua Gatt was my Gideon. I mean,
yeah. So
I fell on that one hard. Man. I was like so stoked about the kid. And it was like knee injury. I'm like, fuck.
When they did surgery on him and they opened up his knee, the first time he had the problem, they got in there and they're like, holy shit, his fucking ACLs are made of spaghetti.
Yeah, dude.
This is not going to work.
That kid was 0 to 100 in like 0.1 second. It was like
he was the fastest player in whatever league he was in until he got injured, and then it was like all downhill from there. Sad story.
I mean, once you start getting those, I mean, if your pace is your game, then you're just ruined.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the path that Yedlin was going down, and then Yedlin, started learning how to actually play defense instead of just relying on his pace. Not saying that he's a great 1v1 defender, but he's a much more well-rounded defender since going to Newcastle at the time.
Yeah, Yedlin has had a great career, a generally great career. And now he's older. He doesn't have that speed, but he's still effective enough to make the team. But I don't think he's going to make the next team. Busio Goat, 199. I'm sorry, but if you've been catching up with Venezia lately, Tessman's your new GOAT, not Busio. Tessman is the new GOAT at fucking Venezia. And by the way, Tessman doesn't make my list here because I still have
the names popping up here. We got Julian Green, we've talked about briefly.
Well, he's too old to even talk about at this point.
Alfredo Morales is too old too.
Yeah, he's done. He's
Dwayne Holmes.
Unless his team gets promoted, which it won't because they're going down. Huddersfield's going down. I don't know. He's going to have one of those really up and down careers, and I don't know where he's going to be able to play long enough to establish himself. And his other problem is his attitude. Most of his coaches have had problems with his attitude, including
Berhalter
and Wayne Rooney. So there's that. What about Sebastian Berhalter? What about him, John? What about him?
Julian Tillman.
What? I think he's combining players.
Yeah.
There is no Julian Tillman.
What's Tillman's brother?
So you got Timothy.
Timothy, thank you. I'm pretty sure that's what he means to be saying.
Yeah. He might be combining Julian and
Green and Tillman. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. They do play for the same team. Maybe that's why he's saying it.
Well, and they come in for one another. If one starts, the other one replaces the other one.
They become one.
Yes. Chris Gary, 199. Disappointed about Bello. We need a backup left back. Oh, yes, we do.
We got one.
Yes, we do. His name's Joe Scally.
His name's Joe Scally. Yes.
So, I mean,
he happens to be our backup right back too, though.
Right. All right.
Thanks for the 199.
Griffin Yao. No, let's do Brienne KO. I'm sorry. And I know Pete is really high on KO. Pete is really high on KO. But he is so not impressed that Wolfsburg 2 loaned him out to Nuremberg 2. So that's going down a step.
2 to a 2, huh? Ouch.
Yeah, it's like you're not good enough for the Wolfsburg 2 team. So we're going to send you off to another 2 team that's not as good as ours so you can get some playing time. And I don't think that's a good sign when you're 20 fucking years old. If you were 18, I'd be like, that's fine. But he's 20. All right. Griffin Yao. Let's do him now. He's now at Westerlo. Just give me a call when he gets to play on a regular basis at Westerlo. Seriously.
He definitely doesn't look old enough to be checking out my my vodka at the grocery store.
Definitely not. He's probably not old enough to give you a hand job either. No, he is. He's 20. He's
But
20
imagine
years
he
old.
probably is older than 18, yes.
Yes, he's over 18. He could and in about 8 months he'll be able to swig a beer with you. And then you can do that interaction.
He said it's a Westerlo, so maybe we can go over there. I can go over there and drink some beer.
Listen, if you if you can't get like regular minutes at Westerlo, I just don't. And you're 20.
Were we having this
fucking years
conversation
old?
with Reynolds not too long ago? But he's been getting time at least.
No, Reynolds plays.
Yeah.
Reynolds plays. Yao does not.
Perfect timing. Yeah. Isn't Brian Reynolds at Westerlo? Yeah.
Yes, and he plays, so I'm not writing Reynolds off yet.
He wasn't at first though. He got loaned out there and did not get that much playing time there initially. But
Yeah,
he has
but
been
he
this season. He has been this season. Yes.
Yeah, he does now. Ethan Dobelair, 20-year-old from Seattle's youth system, is now so fucking.
I'm writing him up already. Fuck it.
He's
Seattle.
such
Fuck Seattle.
he's such an amazing youth, a 20-year-old player that he plays in a second division team in Czechoslovakia. Okay, he's done. And next, Max Dietz, 20 years old, was playing for Freiburg, as this says, youth teams. Now he plays for Firth's 2 team.
Ouch.
And when I say play, I mean he does.
Playing for a second team that's going to get relegated again, huh?
Not every time, yeah, exactly.
That's his expression right now. It's like, yeah, you play for Firth. You're like,
he wasn't good enough for fucking Freiburg's junior team.
Can you write off Quinn Sullivan yet?
Nope, not going to do that yet. Not going to. But I mean,
if you had to go out on a limb, though, Derek, would you?
Yeah, I probably would.
Probably would.
I probably would.
Hopefully, it proves us wrong.
I didn't want to go that deep into the youth. Ew, that didn't come off right. All right.
3 out of 4 week shows, Derek. You've had something now, so.
All right. Alfonso Campo Chavez, another Seattle product, is now at Austin, but highly touted at one point. Highly touted.
What was the fucking name?
Ocampo Chavez. Starts with an O. All right.
Okay.
There he is.
I was looking for Chavez, but I didn't even think about looking at CH's. But I was looking at the SH's.
Sorry. Let's see how much he plays at fucking for us.
Yeah. Fuck Seattle with a stick. and all their fans.
Come on. We don't want to get rid of all Seattle fans. All right. Here's another total bust you can just wrap up in a big box and fucking send it to your grandma with a note that says, this guy's a bust. Chris Gloucester.
Oh.
He's so bad that he came back to MLS and got loaned to Sacramento in the USL immediately, where he only played 2 games. Then, when they sent him back to NYCFC after the loan, they immediately sent his ass down to NYCFC 2. All right. We're done with Chris.
What's the other PSV kid that's been done the second team for so long?
Josh Pidna. Seriously, I don't know.
No, he's on Aze, second team. It doesn't really fucking matter. But all right, let's move on.
All right, Lanez.
No, not Yuli.
I know people are not going to like this, but if you're playing 2 seasons in a row in the Austrian second Bundesliga, which is basically a beer pub league, you're done. You're done.
There you go. This is who I thought I was thinking. Sealy.
I'm not writing Sealy off.
No. That's the other kid I was thinking that's over the PSV area.
Yeah, I wouldn't write him off.
Back to Yuli. Yeah.
Yuli, sorry, man. But listen, things didn't work out, especially not at Heerenveen, which isn't like a rock hard cock fucking team in especially in the youth wise. He should have been playing there all the time for the 2 team. Young Heerenveen.
Ledesma might be counted out simply because of his injuries.
Yeah, dude, he just got injured again. Apparently, it's not that serious, but dude, that dude runs on grass and breaks things. That's how that works.
They called me Mr. Glass.
I mean, you can't be that injury prone because nobody's going to want you after a while. I'm surprised they've stuck with him as long as they have for as many injuries as Ledesma's had. At some point, aren't you just like, this kid's broken? Fuck him.
Yeah, seriously. I imagine PSV has to be in that. Definitely not resigning this kid.
Johnny, Mr. Lataris, hasn't played in years. He was cut by which was the Greek team he was cut by. Anyhow, he has Greek parents.
Colonel Angus FC.
Mike Lataris Sr. has made a statement pretty recently that the Greek league was pretty brutal. He couldn't hack it.
He couldn't find it. He couldn't find the back of the net.
The players all rubbed him the wrong. The players all rubbed him the wrong way, and it caused chafing. And eventually, the pain and swelling led him to retire. So, unfortunately, Mike
happens to be the new spokesman for KY at this point, though.
Well, yeah, he does work and actually he's in customer service at KY.
Oh, man, the chat's just going crazy now.
All right, so goodbye, Linez. Good luck in 2nd division, Austria. But St. Polten they're not going anywhere. So if you're going to plan on staying with them,
where are you going?
Nowhere, dude. Because listen, like if we were 20 years older, we could play in fucking 2 Bundesliga. Well, probably the worst team in 2 Bundesliga. But we could. I mean, at our best, we could. That's how bad
on the pitch of the pint and the cigarette or whatever.
That was Chad McGowan on my team. All right. That's it. We're done. We got through the list. I'm sure there's some we missed. But I think we got most of them that if they were on your list of kids you were really concerned about or interested in, that you could just write off and move on with your life to other players you should be concerned and interested in, because there are more coming. And there's no point you're wasting your time on players that are done and not going to be U.S. men's national team. Now, if you like them because they're on your club team, then, of course, continue to watch them and be interested in what they're doing. That's fine. But as far as U.S. men's national team, those players we just mentioned, except for the ones where we explicitly mentioned that they weren't done, are done. There you go. And if I have to eat crow, since most of those opinions were made outrageously by me, and Brett just kind of giggled along with them, most of them. But yeah, I mean, I've been following them and tracking them long enough where I can confidently say, move on to other players.
I know we're nearing the 2-hour marker, but I wanted to pull up Desi's name.
All right, let's do that. Kate Callis won. When is he going to do something? He isn't. He'll just do what he does. Cade Cowell's a one-trick pony.
Ignore the comment here. I'm talking about the name. He put effort into putting out a new name here.
Matt.
Massive Vagina?
Massive Vagina.
Yeah. Okay.
We
had to work it out there. I was looking at that going like, what the fuck is that?
I think he could have done that in a different way to make it easier. Because Mats, for instance, is a real name. Like Mats Wielander was a tennis player. So he could have worked this out so it didn't look so weird at the beginning where you're like, Savagina? What's that? You know, anyhow, I'm giving you credit, Desi. This is out on a limb. You were going out on a limb with that one.
Oh, man, what is that? That's a good one.
Yeah. Mats Vagina. I forgot Tanner Tessman. Do not give up. Do not sleep on Tanner Tessman. That kid is just getting better by the minute. even though he's on a horrible team. Now he is a regular starter for that horrible team, and they started winning. So, and he scored a goal on a fucking amazing. How did Tanner Tessman suddenly be called up by the team, the manager of that team, and you're like, yeah, set pieces, that's you, Tanner. He's like, me? Yeah, you're taking free kicks now from 30 yards outside the box. Oh shit, really, coach? Yes, you are. Well, with an Italian accent. Yes, you are. You fucking pussy.
All I gotta do is just gotta throw a hand out there like, yes.
Yeah. Why are you so nervous to take a free kick? You little pussy. We've been practicing all week with you. All right, next game, you take us a fucking free kick.
And
Okay, coach.
Mitch is getting hounded by the chat. C- work. Desi jumped the shark a while back.
All right, we got any other names people?
Last one I want to do here.
All right. I missed the live show Monday. I got caught up watching a group of men from Fort Worth get assaulted in LA. I got caught up. Okay. It was ugly. If you know, you know. I did, of course, catch the replay on Tuesday. Thoughts on this? Sounds like HBO is going to ruin soccer. Uh-oh. Just heard something interesting. HBO U.S. women's national team matches. They can't be streamed in public places. Home viewing only. That means no watch parties. Anyone know anything about this? If true, how can we get it changed? I'm confused as fuck, dude.
Basically, what Kelsey's saying here is that you can't go to Chat and Tap and watch the U.S. Women's National game. You can only watch it at home. They don't do the watch parties on HBO Max. Or HBO.
Wow.
That's what she's saying. She's heard. Now, whether or not it's true, I don't know.
I don't know either. But are all men's teams?
Why would you specify that? Why would HBO bother?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I'd have no comment on this because I have not the fuck least. I just don't know what the fuck's going on. So, Masturbator, thank you. Well done. All right. I think we are done for tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, which grandma. That was a rather weird show we just did because we haven't really done a show where it's like, hey, yeah, there's a bunch of kids you should just fucking give up on. But we just did it. And I'm not saying don't give up on them as people. Don't give up on those people. I want them to have a good career
they
in MLS or USL or whatever they end up doing. I'm not like saying they're bad people. I'm not, except for Sebastian Soto. But outside of that, I'm saying they're all fine human beings, most of them, and they're just not good enough. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. I just want people to stop talking about them so I don't have to keep addressing them. You know,
Derek literally just looked at his list and like, I can scratch you off. I can scratch you off. I can scratch.
Yeah, I'm done with them.
I'm done.
I'm gonna, maybe
you prove me wrong. That's about it.
Yeah, at this point, I'm in prove me wrong territory, or I'm gonna stop tracking your every movement because listen, there's a lot of people to track, and if you go and track people who are done, you're wasting your time. You're seriously wasting your time. So Chris Gloucester, if you really loved his, shiny butt, well, guess what? You can still love his shiny butt, but his shiny butt's not going to play for the U.S. men's national team. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. We will be back on Monday with another fucking Vaseline fest of information. Good night.
She's an unsung novel, turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't